Hello and welcome to another. It's hard for me to do that without saying, my usual thing. Hello and welcome to another episode of I want to talk about this album, but this is another album ranking. Very important to note. Let's get this straight right off the bat. This is official. You may see other Black Sabbath album ranking videos. Don't pay attention to those. They are meaningless. My ranking video it's official. It's not a bootleg like the other ones. It's not pirata. It's real. It's the only one that counts. Take my word for it, not anyone else that you see on YouTube. All right. So now that we have that out of the way, I'm still experimenting a little bit with the look of the show, of the studio. Before I was I don't know, way back here, and I was head to toe. You could see me head to toe. I got some feedback, a lot of feedback from one person called Dallas, as well as my ex-wife Lilia, who said, "Nah, it's no good like that." Dallas said it was too busy, so I've tightened it up a little bit. I feel like I'm like a big time late night TV talk show host standing on a big stage from the waist up. I think maybe this looks a little bit more pleasing to the eye. It'll look even better once I get some of these posters up. I did get 5 of them framed. They're downstairs, still wrapped up. They look amazing. I have another 5 that were supposed to be ready today, but today in Mexico is a holiday. Well, tomorrow is the actual holiday, but today's the celebration day, just like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Tomorrow is Independence Day, but today or tonight is the night everybody celebrates. So they were supposed to be ready today at 5, but the woman who was framing them sent me a message and said she was rushing they were closing at 3 instead of 5. She forgot. And I've already made this too long. I should start over. And so she said, I can rush to finish them today if you can come in at 3. But if you can't, I'll take my time. And I said, nah, don't worry about it. So posters will be hung. I don't know when. So this is the Black Sabbath album ranking video, and I'm going to do it with the brand new. I just got this about a week ago. Let me show you the first prop. You see this cube? This is not the Kaaba in Mecca. This is the Black Sabbath. It's kind of I don't know if the camera can pick it up because it's kind of a I don't know what kind of finish you call this. When the light hits it, it can kind of get it. It says Black Sabbath, 1970 to 2017. And in case you don't believe me, it's also there on the side. And I got this from China. I got this from China. This is every Black Sabbath album from the first one to the last one, which was 13, that came out in 2013. It does not include the album called... what was that album called? The one that they weren't allowed to be called Black Sabbath because of legal happenings. So they had to call the band Heaven and Hell. And the album, my God, what was that album called? Oh my God, do I have to go to the notes already? Oh my God, I'm going to have to check. What was that album called? Oh, you know what it is. The one with Dio, when Dio came back in 2009 or 2008, something like that. I can't believe I can't remember the name of the album, and I didn't write it down. I just wrote it down as Heaven and Hell 2. So, and I am going to include that. I have watched a couple of these Black Sabbath album ranking videos. Unofficial, they are. And people don't include those, which I don't understand. Who cares? It's just the name. Just because it doesn't say the name Black Sabbath album on it, on the album cover, you don't consider a Black Sabbath album. But those same people did include Seventh Star, which barely says Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. I think that Dio album, whose name I can't remember, was called The Devil You Know. Is that what it was? Or was The Devil You Know a song? I can't remember. That's much more of a Black Sabbath album than Seven Star, but people include Seven Star. Oh my God, this is too long. So, and this was hard to do because the first, I think about the first 12, there are 20 albums total. The first 12 for me were very, very easy. The next ones, to be honest, a lot of them, I had never heard them before. Never. I think I'd never even heard one song. Pretty much from 1986 until 2013. Not only did I not buy a Black Sabbath album that came out in that period, which was 7 or 8 or 9 albums, I don't even remember hearing a song other than Seventh Star, which came out in 1986. I'll talk about that. So I mean, for me to go through these, my rankings of those albums, kind of, they're still official. Don't get it wrong, they're still official, but it's hard to, you know, to rank them based on one listen. But some of them clearly stood out as being better than others, and some I think I did get in the right spot. Others could be kind of interchangeable. And as always, I put far too much thought into this. I tried to really justify why this was higher than this and things like that. I don't really enjoy the album rankings when people just say this album, this album, this album. They don't really say anything about it. They just list a bunch of songs, and this is number 7 on my list, so this is number 14 on my list. I need to justify. Some of them are easier than others. All right, and then let me show you, and I'm going to show you a little bit closer. This box set, it is, and it. Oh, I didn't mention. You know how much this cost? This was about $32 US for this box set. If you can hear, it's quite good. It's actually excellent quality. It was packed amazing. It came from China in about 12 or 13 days. China. And look at this. It opens up nicely. It has the proper booklet with everything you need to know. It's got a list of all the albums there, and then for each album, it's got each page is dedicated to 2 albums, and it's got the track listing on there and the album art. Very cool packaging for $32 for, and it was 22 CDs. I think it was 19 or 20 CDs and 2 DVDs. No, something like that. It's 22 actual discs total. Yeah, very cool. And there it is up to Forbidden, and then the next page should be, yeah, 13. Yes, it's, yeah, it's got the end as well, which including the, I'm just looking at now, the special features, the Angelic Sessions, which were the Wizard, Wicked World, Sweet Leaf, Tomorrow's Dream and Changes. That was cool. It's got that. Very, very cool booklet. And here are all the albums in the order, in chronological order. There they are. So this is what I will be using to reference it, and it has this little, what do you call that? A little insert with a collage of all the Black Sabbath albums. Quite cool. I'm very, very impressed with that for $32. All right. So I will go through them now. Of course, I had to write them all down. I'll step back to show the list so nobody cheats and zooms in to see where. No, is that it? Yeah, there's the list there. Pretty much a full page. It took me like, must have been close to half an hour or 4 hours to do this. I'm not sure. I dedicated my whole day to this to entertain the 40 people that are going to watch this. And without further ado, as people like to say, I'm already about 8 or 9 minutes in. I think that's far too long. I will get to the ranking, what you've all been waiting for, and I will show each CD, album, record, whatever you choose to call it, as I list them. All right. As I said, the first 12 were easy. The last one was very easy. And as always, when I do these rankings, it's kind of the middle ones that I struggle with a little bit. So let me make sure I get the right one here. So the very last one at the bottom of my list, this is number 20. This is called Seventh Star, and this album fucking sucks. It's shit. It's garbage. I would even say it's Peter Criss solo album level crap. It's really, really bad, this album. I remember when this came out in 1986. I was still, well, not still, I got into Black Sabbath in 1980. Pretty much, you know, after their prime. And so this came out in 1986. And the first single was a song called No Stranger to Love. Must be the worst Black Sabbath album in the entire catalog. And by the way, I listened to all these albums over the course of maybe the last month or so. And I always think it's better to do that to get a really, you know, good impression of everything close together. So a lot of work went into this episode. Please, please, please pay attention to me. And make it worth my while. Yeah, this album sucks. So the first single, No Stranger to Love, I saw the first time I heard the song was when I heard the video, I thought this is, even back then, I was 16 years old, I thought this is complete shit. Black Sabbath singing No Stranger to Love after coming off Zero the Hero and Born Again, a few years earlier. Just a really, really, really bad album. It also was, and I don't know why, first of all, I don't know why Black Sabbath would have a song so bad in their catalog. I have no idea why. Even more puzzling is that it was not just a single, it was the first single in video. It's like saying, this is what we want you to buy. This is what's our strongest track. This is why we want you to buy the album, like the song. That's what I was off Black Sabbath. This I didn't buy. Born Again was the last Black Sabbath album I bought until 2013. This was the beginning of the end. That is not intentional, of Black Sabbath. Garbage. What else did I write about this? Yeah, something about this. Now, remember, I lived in Toronto at the time, and there used to be a TV show, like a video show called Toronto Rocks. It was on Monday to Friday after school. I think it was on at 4 o'clock, from 4 o'clock to 4:30 on City TV. And they used to play rock videos, music videos. And they also used to have concert announcements, and sometimes they would have guests. The members of the bands would come in and talk to the VJ, who at the time was John Major, who was a great VJ. Later was Brad Giffen, and I can't remember who else. And so one day I was watching Toronto Rocks with my good friend Pete, who I've mentioned numerous times in I Want to Talk About these album episodes. And so we were watching, and they said, concert announcement today. John Major said, Wasp with, Black Sabbath with Wasp opening, whatever the date was. I think it was in April or May. I think it was April, whatever the date was, at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. And Pete and I looked at each other like, oh my God, can you believe it? And used to get very excited about concert announcements back then. And I looked at Pete and I said, oh, can you believe it? And then I said, are we going to go, or do you want to go? And he said, nah. And I said, yeah, me neither. That excitement lasted for the length of just, enough time for the words to get out of John Major's mouth. I guess I and Pete both at the time realized Black Sabbath was over for us. I was much more into Wasp at that time. Wasp did do an in-store. There used to be a record chain in Canada called A&A Records, and they had a location on Eglinton Avenue in Scarborough. And the day of the concert, Wasp did an in-store autograph signing at A&A Records. I went with Pete and my other friend Jeff Simpsons, and we got kinds of stuff signed. I took pictures in 1986. I still have those pictures somewhere, and that was cool. But so I lost interest. Yeah, number 20 is Seventh Star, and it's really, really, really bad. And number 19 is not much better. If I can find it. Where is it? Oh, I'm so disorganized. Where is it? Oh, here it is. This one is not much better at number 19. This one is Headless Cross. And as I was listening to these albums to prepare for the video, yes, believe it or not, I did prepare. I didn't know, and I still don't know who played on any of these albums. I know Tony Iommi was the only constant member. I know who sang on all of them. And that was another thing about Seventh Star, why I didn't like it. At that point, Glenn Hughes was the singer, and at that time, that was their fourth singer in the last 5 albums. They had Glenn Hughes, and the album before that, Ian Gillan. The 2 albums before that, Dio, and then Ozzy. So Glenn Hughes was the 4th singer in 5 albums. Dio lasted for 2 albums. And, when bands have lineup changes, especially the singer, for me, and I think for a lot of people, you just lose interest. And I lost interest. And next was Headless Cross. So this was now the 5th singer in 6 albums. And yeah, it's not very good. And maybe the only reason I'm putting it higher than Seventh Star is just no Stranger to Love. I just can't shake how bad that song is. But yeah, Headless Cross, it's just not very good. There's lots of keyboards all over it. I've talked about this before. I like keyboards. Faith No More is one of my favorite bands ever, and they have keyboards all over. They're fantastic. Kiss had lots of keyboards on Crazy Nights and some on Hot in the Shade, and it sucked. So it's not that I'm against keyboards as such. but they have their place, but in this case, they don't have their place because they suck. Keyboards are unnecessary on Headless Cross. Now, this is another one that I hadn't heard. As far as I can remember, the last Black Sabbath song I heard, I think I mentioned until like 2013, was No Stranger to Love. And so now they have this new guy, Tony Martin, and I swear until I started going through this discography like a month ago, I swear I had never heard Tony Martin's voice in my life. It's amazing. I think I hadn't realized that. You know, he did a lot of albums with Black Sabbath, more than anybody but Oz. I think he did 6 or 7 albums. And maybe at some point I would have seen a video from any of the albums that came out from Headless Cross, which was 89, I think, or 88, until Forbidden in 1995 or 1996. Maybe whatever videos they did, I would guess I saw at least one of them at some point, but I didn't remember it all. So when I listened to Headless Cross, I thought, I can't believe how much Tony Martin sounds like Dio. Like, I mean, and you're probably, I know nobody's watching this, but the few who are going, this guy's an idiot. How can he not know? Well, because I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard Tony Martin's voice. And I think even more than that, in all these years with the internet, I swear I don't read every comment. I'm not, that obsessed, but I never heard anybody once ever mention Tony Martin as like a Dio clone. I know that sounds bad, and his voice is great. He's a great singer, but man, he really, really, really sounds like Dio on Headless Cross and the other ones. And I'll mention that when I talk about all the other Tony Martin albums too. Yeah, and this one, Headless Cross, there are 3 songs that mention Satan in the song, and 1 song that mentions Lucifer. And it's just like, okay, Black Sabbath, I get it. You want to be evil. You put out this shit song called No Stranger to Love, and you want everybody to forget about that and go back to Satan and Lucifer and things like that. No, oh, lots of thunder. I forgot to close the windows again. I think it's okay with the external mic. Yeah, it's just generic kind of 90s metal, even though it came out in 1988 or 1989. Yeah, not very good. Sorry, I should have said 80s metal, I guess. Just very generic, not good. Don't like Headless Cross. No, nothing. Next is, maybe not a surprise, this is number 18. Yeah, this is 18. This is The Eternal Idol. And it's also not very good. I guess, let me see what I say about this one. There's a song called Ancient Warrior. And just for a brief second in the intro, it's like a synthesizer keyboard intro, I guess. It sounds very, very reminiscent of the intro of Die Young, which I love Die Young. This was, did I say Headless Cross was the first. This one, Eternal Idol, was the first album with Tony Martin, but I listened to them out of order. Yeah, it was this one where I thought, oh my God, Tony Martin really, really sounds like Dio. And also that song, Ancient Warrior, that really sounds like Don Dokken singing that song. I know it's not, but it really, 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 really sounds like Don Dokken at some points. And to me, this album, it's not really identifiable as a Black Sabbath album. Maybe the title track, which is not called The Eternal Idol, it's just called Eternal Idol. Same with The Mob Rules as the album, but Mob Rules is the name of the song. Very peculiar, no? Again, just generic 80s hard rock / metal. Much better than 7 Star. And yes, it was their I think I was kind of confusing Eternal Idol and Headless Cross there. Yeah, their 5th singer in 6 albums. Yeah, Eternal Idol came out first, but I have it ranked 1 higher than Headless Cross. So that's 18, Eternal Idol. 17 is this one. It's called Tear. And I don't really like the, the theme of this. It's like just the song titles. Well, looking at the back of this, I hadn't seen this before. Tyr, son of Odin and the supreme sky god of the northern peoples, the god of war and martial valor, the protector of the community and the giver of law and order. And the song titles are Anno Mundi, The Battle of Tyr, Odin's Court, Valhalla, not very good. That's very, very Manowar level. And I think Manowar sucks. I think they're an awful band. And yeah, this album, I guess it was better, obviously, than the other three. Um, Seventh Star, Headless Cross, and Eternal Idol. It is a little bit better, but I think it's still not very good. A lot of keyboards in this, a lot of keyboards on Headless Cross too. I don't know if I mentioned that. Yeah, and just yeah, I guess it's a little bit better. Did I write anything about Tear? Oh yeah, oh and yes, about Anno Mundi, the opening song. It brought to mind. It sounded to me a little bit like, in parts, like Children of the Sea from Heaven and Hell. And there's a song called Feels Good to Me, which kind of stood out to me. I thought, what kind of title is that for, a Black Sabbath song? Feels Good to Me, especially with Odin's battle in Valhalla and the court of, I don't know, whatever these songs were. I thought, Feels Good to Me. That's not Black Sabbath, and maybe not appropriate for the theme of this album. Kind of a power metal album. Don't really like it. Next is, and you can kind of see where you can see where I'm going with these albums. Next is, I got to make sure I get the right, because I have these CDs in chronological order, not in the order of my list. So this is number 16. This is Cross Purposes. This, I would say those first four, Seventh Star, Headless Cross, Eternal Idol, and Tear, those are pretty much at the bottom. I'm pretty confident in their order of those. These next couple, there could be a little flip-flopping, but I'll go with the way I've written it here. So this, again, it's Tony Martin again, and really, really, really strong Dio worship on this one. There's a song called Psychophobia that I thought was good. He really sounds like, or that song sounds like Ray Gillen, Badlands. That's another thing I didn't mention when I talked about Eternal Idol. When I listened to it, I thought, oh my God, this guy, Tony Martin, really sounds like Ray Gillen. And then almost immediately it hit me. I remember that Ray Gillen was briefly in Black Sabbath, and I know he did record the vocals for Eternal Idol, and I guess they were scrapped, and then at some point they just forgot about it and got Tony Martin to replace Ray Gillen. And so when I listened to Eternal Light, I thought, oh my God, this is totally Ray Gillen. And yeah, this song too, which one? Psychophobia, really reminiscent of Ray Gillen / Badlands. And I like that song, Psychophobia. It had a not very Black Sabbath, but nice melody, kind of catchy. And there's another song on there called Virtual Death that I thought was pretty good. All right. Next that was 16, Cross Purposes. 15 is, this is called Forbidden. All right. Now, in the couple of Black Sabbath unofficial album ranking videos that I watched, everybody, I think I watched about 3, everybody had this at the bottom. They said it sucked. I almost wanted to put this at number 1 just to spite all those people. Seriously, I think at this point, these albums are not so bad. The first ones I've talked about up to this point are not very good, especially Seventh Star. But I thought Forbidden was pretty good. And I'm sure that a reason why people don't like Forbidden is this this preconceived notion that people have of seeing the producer's name or knowing the producer's name. This was produced by Ernie C. Ernie C. is the guitarist for Body Count, which is Ice-T's metal band. And a little secret, Ernie C., he's black. And I think a lot, and he's associated with a rap artist, Ice-T. And I'm sure a lot of Black Sabbath fans, what the hell is this? Black Sabbath is being produced by Ernie C., a guy who's associated with rap, and Ice-T is on, I think he's on the first song. I'm sure that immediately sent, raised some red flags or some red lights flashing for a lot of people. And people love to criticize production, which I think is incredibly silly. The production on this album sucks. Producers do a lot more than just, sometimes they don't do anything in terms of, how the album sounds. But I'm sure that's a big reason that a lot of people didn't like Forbidden was because of the mental association that they had with Ernie C and Ice-T. I thought it was pretty good. There's a song called Shaking Off the Chains that I thought sounded like, it doesn't sound like thrash metal, just like Symptom of the Universe on Sabotage. Doesn't sound like thrash metal, but you know, a lot of people say that was kind of like the first, the kind of the precursor to thrash metal, like proto thrash. I think Shaking Off the Chains sounds like it could have been a non-thrash song by a thrash band. It could have been Testament or Death Angel or something. I thought that was pretty good. Oh my God, there's a song on here called Rusty Angels. That I mentioned earlier that there was a song that sounds like Don Dawkins singing. This song, Rusty Angels, is like, oh my God, identical to the Dawkins song called Burning Like a Flame. The riff, the little licks in the guitar, the vocal, the kind of melody of the song, very, very, very reminiscent. Rusty Angels is to Burning Like a Flame. All right? And it's not so bad. Oh, and I do know, and I did listen to both versions. I guess it was about a year ago. Tony Iommi himself remixed it and released it. I think it was part of a box set, a Tony Martin box set. I do think it sounds better. It just sounds louder. That has nothing to do with production. It's still Ernie C that produced it, but it was just remixed by Tony Iommi. I do think the remix sounds slightly better. Maybe if I had been listening to Forbidden for 20 years, 30 years, whatever, how long it's been out now, maybe I wouldn't think that. But yeah, I thought it did sound a little bit better. Next is, now this is one that I don't have. It's the Dio album when Dio came back in 2008 or 2009, and it's called The Devil You Know, right? I don't have it now. I never bought it. The reason I put this up so high, it could have been a little bit lower, maybe also could have been 1 or 2 spots higher. Familiarity. You know, I like Dio. In some cases, I love Dio, either solo or with Black Sabbath. And I think people really like Familiarity. Again, going back to producers, when you see a name like Terry Date, okay, Terry Date produced Overkill, Pantera, Soundgarden. And so if he produces a new band, or you know, an album a band he's never produced, and if he produced them now, people go, oh my God, Terry Date, he did Soundgarden and Overkill and Pantera. So this album by this band must be great. And I think that's kind of the same with Dio here. We, including me, at least in this case, have a tendency to say, oh, Dio is back, so I automatically am going to like this album. And it's okay. If it hadn't been Dio, I probably would have had it several spots lower. The Familiarity kind of reminded me of why, I'm going to get political, why Joe Biden, I think, won the 2020 election. People were familiar with him. The people that were the candidates that were running up to that point before Joe Biden threw his hat into the ring or into the race. I'm not sure where he threw his hat. You know, maybe people didn't care about them. But then when Joe Biden said, hey, I'm running for president, people said, oh my God, Joe Biden, he used to be the vice president and the country was great under him. So now we're going to vote for him and we're very excited for him and we'll vote for him. I think that's why Joe Biden won. Isn't that a great observation? This one, it is of mostly of all these albums that I've talked about so far, they're not really identifiable as Black Sabbath. This one is. This does sound like Black Sabbath. It's not particularly catchy. I don't know if the songs were that great, but at least it did, you know, it was kind of slow and heavy, Black Sabbath-y. And speaking of song titles, as I mentioned earlier with Feels Good to Me on whatever album that was on, Cross Purposes, I think. Two song titles here that are very cheesy. The first song, the opening song, it's not called Adam and Eve. It's not called Adam and Evil. It's called Atom and Evil. A-T-O-M, like an atomic bomb, like an atom, you know, those tiny, tiny things that can't be split. And Evil, very cheesy song title. And when Dio sings it, he clearly sings as Atom. He doesn't say Adam and Evil. He clearly makes an effort to make you know and aware that he's saying Atom and Evil. Slow and heavy, that song. It's pretty good. And then another just strange song title, Rock and Roll Angel. You know, Dio had Rock and Roll Children, which sucked. That song was terrible. And I generally don't like song titles. The songs are okay, but song titles that have rock and roll in them, I get a little, I have a little bit of an aversion to them. The song is pretty good, Rock and Roll Angel, but the song title, Rock and Roll Angel, Dio or Black Sabbath. Same with Rock and Roll Doctor on Technical Ecstasy. I mentioned that when I did that, when I talked about that album a few weeks ago. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Anyway, yeah, that album, The Devil You Know, it's pretty good. I can't imagine it's one that I'm going to listen to too much, but no, it's okay. Next is 13. I can go back to the CDs. Next is, if I can find it, next is, speaking of Dio, next is Dehumanizer. I could have flip-flopped Dehumanizer and Heaven and Hell, but I think I like Dehumanizer. I've only listened to them each one time, so I did put Dehumanizer up a little bit higher at 13. The Devil You Know was 14. When I was listening to this record, I thought I remembered that Vinny, and what is that guy's name anyway? How do you say his last name? Because his brother Carmine, I'm almost positive goes by Carmine Appice. But Vinny, I think, goes by Vinny Appice or Vinny Appice, something like that. Anyway, you know who he is. He's got a very, very distinct sound with Dio and with on the Mob Rules album that he played on. And so when I was listening to this, I thought Vinny Appice played Appice, whatever his name is. I thought he played on it, but I thought the drums don't sound like him. I think his sound is very wet. His drums sound very kind of damp and thudding, and I thought this doesn't sound like him. And he does, and there's the proof. There he is on the back. So kind of a weird drum sound for Vinny. There's a song on here called After All, and then parentheses, The Dead. It has kind of a slow, heavy Black Sabbath vibe. There's a song called Sins of the Father that I thought sounded like, I could imagine Ozzy singing that song. Could have been an Ozzy era Black Sabbath song. And another song called Buried Alive. I got a real sense of Zero the Hero from that. So yeah, I guess that's why I put this one spot higher than The Devil You Know. There's just a few more things that stood out to me about it. So 13 is Dehumanizer. Number 12 is this one. It's number 12 on my list, but it's 13 is the name of the album. What did I say about 13? I didn't write anything about this because this one I am familiar with enough that I can talk about it without notes. Actually, I think all of them now. Yeah, I think I don't need notes anymore. Yeah, no more notes. The rest I am familiar enough that I don't need training wheels or crutches to talk about. So 13, yeah, it came out in 2013, and it was the first album with Ozzy since Never Say Die in 1978, and everybody was very excited. And again, with the producer, oh my God, Rick Rubin produced it. Oh my God, he's worked with Beastie Boys and Metallica and who else? The Deftones, I think. I don't know. Dice Clay even. And I think everybody was very excited that they brought in this big name producer. I don't really care about that. But when I first heard it, and I have to admit, I was excited for the first this was going to be the first Black Sabbath album that I'd bought since Born Again, which came out in 1983. And I was very excited. And, it's just, and I hadn't bought an Ozzy album at that point since No More Tears in 1991. So this was a big deal for me. And so I had high expectations, and I wasn't disappointed. I liked it. In retrospect, it's not as good as I remember. I think just the fact that it was new and it's Ozzy with Black Sabbath was so exciting. It was very, very, where did I put the record? Let's see, there it is. It's very, very formulaic. As the more that I listened to it, or as years passed, I realized, yeah, it's very formulaic. Pretty much every single song sounds like an older Black Sabbath song. End of the Beginning, the first song, really, really sounds like the song Black Sabbath, the first song from their first record. Zeitgeist is a clear attempt at redoing Planet Caravan. There's one song, I can't remember what song it is, that's like NIB, or maybe one that's like The Wizard. Pretty much every song, there are 8 songs on here. There were some bonus songs on a bonus CD. But yeah, it was cool to hear Ozzy with Black Sabbath again, or Black Sabbath with Ozzy again. It got my attention, and I think it's a pretty good album. I haven't, really embraced this over the years as I did when it was new, but I have it at number 12. So obviously I like it to that's in the top half. No, how many? No, not quite in the top half, but yeah, it's pretty good. That's 13 and it's number 12. Next is, no, you know what? I screwed that up. I had put arrows like this reversing. No, 13 should have been 11 instead of 12. No, you know what I should do? Or what I should have done is I should have found this one and shown you this one. This is so unprofessional. It's no wonder nobody watches my videos. Where is it? All right, this one. So let's go back. So Dehumanizer was 13. This is the real number 12. Mob Rules. I know a lot of people would have it much higher than that. The Dio worship, everybody loves Ronnie Dio. He's very beloved. But I never got into this record. I like it, but yeah, it's just bad timing for this record. I do like, yeah, Turn Up the Night. I know everybody loves Sign of the Southern Cross. I like it. I think not as much as most people. Country Girl, I think, is pretty good. Yeah, I like this record, but it's not as good to me as it is to other people. So this, Mob Rules, I have at 12, and then this, 13, at number 11. Yes, my mistake. All that time I spent writing that down, and I still make mistakes. All right, that's that. Next is number 10, and there's really, I think, not too many surprises here. Number 10 is Born Again. A couple of things about this record. Everybody shits on the album cover, and I think, again, it's people being brainwashed or influenced by other comments. Not Ray Gillan, Ian Gillan. Black Sabbath has had two Gillan singers, slightly different spellings. So Ian Gillan said when he, I think the quote was something like, when he heard this record, he vomited, or when he saw the record cover, he vomited, and then when he heard the record, he vomited again. And so I hear everybody just saying this is one of the worst album covers ever. I'm sure that if Ian Gillan had never said anything about this being such a bad album cover, nobody would have anything to say. I think it's kind of cool. It's a devil baby. My God, it's Black Sabbath with a devil baby. How can you think that's bad? Maybe the red and the purple colors kind of clash, but I think it's a cool cover. And there are some great songs in here. Trash, the first song, and Zero the Hero are two of, I can't say they're two of my favorite Black Sabbath songs, but those are classic Black Sabbath albums. And this was another one. This was, Ian Gillan was now the third singer in 4 albums, and Black Sabbath was beginning to, slide. And I do remember this concert too. I remember concerts that I didn't go to. They played at Maple Leaf Gardens on this tour with Quiet Riot opening at I think it was late in 1983. I don't remember. I didn't go. And so anyway, Zero the Hero. And I feel like, well, the album as a whole is quite heavy. It's very Black Sabbathy, very Black Sabbathy, Black Sabbath-ish. And Zero the Hero, do you remember the video for that? I was, I guess, 13 years old when this came out. That video, I can't say it scared me, but oh my God, what a freaky video. It had, well, Hitler was in it, and not the real guy, but a guy, who resembled the Fuhrer, and the I don't know if it was like the Hunchback, or who was it with the bulging eye or something. There was that guy who with the glasses who was like, they were feeding him, and he looked like he was brain dead or something. Crazy, weird video. And I just remember, and I had, at that point, I think I'd only heard one Deep Purple song. I knew Smoke on the Water. I really don't think I even knew, My Woman from Tokyo, or Space Truckin', or Burn, or anything. I didn't know anything about Deep Purple, but I did know Smoke on the Water. And when I saw that video, I saw Ian Gillan. Remember, he's got a classic metal pose. He's got his 1 foot forward, the mic here, and he's kind of swaying back and forth, and he's headbanging. Ian Gillan, man, he was metal in that video. That big mop of hair. I think he was wearing a denim vest and jeans and just headbanging on the stage. Zero the Hero. I feel like it's one of these songs that if you ask people, they'll say they love it, but including me. Nobody actually brings it up as a great Black Sabbath song, but I love Zero the Hero. I'm going to quote lyrics for the first time. What's the opening of Zero the Hero? Accept the fact that you're second rate. Accept the fact that you're second rate. Life is easy for you. Life is it. That probably sounds even worse than normal with the microphone right here. Accept the fact that you're second rate. Life is easy for you. It's all served up on a gold-plated plate. It's all served up on a gold-plated. Don't even have to talk to you. Don't even have to talk to you. Impossibility. What's the wordplay there? Impossibility, impossibility, brother. Zero the hero. Great, amazing, heavy, real Black Sabbath song. I like Born Again. That's why it's a number 10. Number 9 is the album that I talked about 3 weeks ago, I think. Technical Ecstasy. I think at some point I might have had this below Born Again. But as I said in that video when I talked about this, the deluxe edition a couple of weeks ago, I am starting to catch on to it. And also now I have a reason to enjoy this or to be into this more, to have more of an attachment with this. Because I was listening to this when I got the news that Ozzy died. So that kind of made me maybe appreciate it more. But I don't think that there's not one song on here that I like as much as Zero the Hero or Trashed. And what is Trashed? It really was a meeting. The barroom took a beating. The ladies of the manor watched me climb into my car, and I was going down the track about 105. They had the stopwatch rolling and the headlights blazing. I was really alive. I had the 10-pin roll. I drank a bottle of tequila and I felt real good. I can't remember, but I'm going backwards to Trashed. Great song. So I don't think there's one single song on here that I like better than Trashed or Zero the Hero. But I think as an album, I think I like this better. And, you know, it's Ozzy, so it's familiar to me too. So that's Technical Ecstasy at number 9. Number 8 is, I think I kind of see this as a companion to Technical Ecstasy. The last Ozzy album, Never Say Die. This is really the only Black Sabbath album that I want and don't have on vinyl. It's far too expensive. I hope to get it on vinyl sometime. I'll try to avoid doing I want to talk about this album when I talk about it now. I think I like this more than, I mentioned that I think I like Mob Rules less than most people. I think I like Never Say Die more than most people. I think the first half of this record is fantastic. The title track is excellent. I don't know the order. Hard Road is good. Junior's Eyes is maybe in my top 10 Black Sabbath songs. Johnny Blade is excellent. The second half of Never Say Die is not as good, but at least four amazing songs. So that's Never Say Die at number 8. Number 7, this is, I kind of surprised myself that I put Heaven and Hell at number 7. It was just my instinct, and this is why I like to listen to the albums before I do the ranking to maybe get a fresh look at it. I guess just on the surface, I would have said, oh, this is, you have the first 8 Ozzy albums up to Never Say Die, and then this would be, you know, number 9. But I've realized that I do like this better than, or I like it more than Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die. Actually, I love this album. I talked about this album on I Want to Talk About This album maybe a year and a half ago. And in recent, say in the last month or 5 weeks or so, I've listened to this a ton, especially Neon Nights, Die Young. The 4 great songs on this are much better than the 4 great songs on Never Say Die, which for me are Neon Nights, Children of the Sea, title track Heaven and Hell, and Die Young is unbelievable. Lady Evil, Walk Away, Lonely is the Word. This is an excellent album. This has really grown on me in the last year or so, or maybe even more recently than that. Heaven and Hell is fantastic. And I think most people would agree. This is widely considered to be a classic Black Sabbath album. So that's Heaven and Hell is number 7. Number 6, this is maybe lower than some people would have it. It's the debut album. I like it. NIB, The Wizard, the title track, Black Sabbath, Wicked World, especially those first three I mentioned are man, some of the best Black Sabbath songs ever. But I think I mentioned when I talked about this on I Want to Talk About This album 2 years ago, whenever it was, it's kind of a weird album for me. There are a couple of different versions of it. One of them has Evil Woman, one of them doesn't. One of them has Warning, I think the other one doesn't. And they had those weird kind of slash song titles like I can't even remember, a little bit of Finger, Wasp, basically Sleeping Village. It just, it confused me a little bit. Looking at it now, it's very, very small, hard to read. Black Sabbath, The Wizard, Wasp, Wasp, Behind the Wall of Sleep, basically an NIB. That's 4 titles for one song. That kind of bothers me. Wicked World, so small. A bit of Finger, Sleeping Village, and Warning. So what's on here I do like, but it just feels a little bit kind of weird and a little bit incomplete. But I love it. The first heavy metal album. Did you know that? That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That is also an official fact. So that was the debut album at number 6. And number 5, I've got, and there's no surprises really from here. Number 5 is, it's not Masters of Reality, it's Master of Reality. The great songs on here are as good as anything, but like the debut album, this feels a little bit incomplete. This is 32, 33, 34 minutes. It's 8 tracks. It's really only 6 songs because there's 2 just short, these filler instrumental kind of interludes between songs, Embryo and Orchid. And then if you include Solitude, and I love Solitude, I think it's an amazing song, but it's not a rock like a Black Sabbath song. So there's really only 5 songs in there. Sweet Leaf, After Forever, Children of the Grave, Lord of This World, and Into the Void. So yeah, it's excellent. It's amazing. I have it at number 5. Was it 5 or 6? 5, right? Yeah, I have it at number 5. So obviously I do love it, but it does feel a little bit incomplete, but I love it. Number 4 is, I'm telling y'all, it's Sabotage. This was almost number 3, but I couldn't really justify putting it up above the one that I'm going to talk about next. I love Sabotage. I want to get that the Super Deluxe vinyl, but I can't justify spending that money on it for the original album plus like a live album. Too much. But Sabotage is excellent. Now we're getting to the point that I know these albums cold. This is Hole in the Sky, Don't Start Too Late, Symptom of the Universe, Megalomania. Am I missing something? I think Megalomania. Side 2 was, what's the first song on side 2? Thrill of It All. Da-na-na-na-na, yeah. After that is Superstar. What else is on there? Oh, Am I Going Insane? And then The Writ. Did I get them in the right order? Yeah, I got them all. Yeah, this is an amazing album. And this is another one that I feel like everybody loves, but it's not, I think it's not too many people's favorite album. There's nothing, aside from Symptom of the Universe, there's some great songs, but there's no classics. And what I think is a classic and what you think of is a classic doesn't matter. It's what is seen in the big picture. None of these songs, except for Symptom of the Universe, kind of stayed, I think, in Black Sabbath set list. Probably nothing on any compilations, but this is a unbelievable album, and it's number 4. Number 3 is SBS, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Probably, for what it's worth, my favorite Black Sabbath album cover. It's so evil. It's got this woman on the bed with, I don't know if it's Satan over. It's got 666. It's got the skull. It's got demons going after this woman. Great album cover. And I think when I talked about this a year and a half ago, whenever it was, I probably mentioned that I didn't like the sound of this as much as I did the previous albums. The actual sound, the guitars, I think didn't sound as heavy as I would have liked or as I was accustomed to on the previous albums. I don't care about that. I just think this is such a great album. I love every song on it. Even this for me probably has the best Black Sabbath filler song, Fluff, which is filler in the sense it's just an instrumental. It's just an acoustic guitar. I think about 3 or 4 acoustic guitars. I love it. National Acrobat, very heavy Black Sabbath song. The title track, the middle part, Where Can You Run To, is very heavy. Some of the heaviest stuff. Spiral Architect, Killing Yourself to Live. What else is on here? Am I Going In? Sorry, not Am I Going Insane. Who Are You? Oh, what an amazing song. Very un-Black Sabbath, but it's a fantastic one. What else is on here? Looking for Today. Looking for Today. Love that song. Yeah, what an album this is. Amazing. I could have almost put it higher, but I just couldn't justify it. So that's number 3, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. If you're paying attention, you know what the last 2 are. And number 2 is number 4. This is called Volume 4. And I love it. It's my second favorite Black Sabbath album. I talked about this, the Super Deluxe version I did maybe a month ago before I moved into this house. And I think this is my favorite sounding Black Sabbath album, in addition to having some of my favorite songs. Wheels of Confusion is maybe my second favorite Black Sabbath. I don't have a ranking of favorite. I could never do a Black Sabbath or any band song ranking, but Wheels of Confusion / The Straightener is top 3 for sure. Arguably could be number 1. Snowblind is another, maybe in my top 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there. Tomorrow's Dream. I don't know, these are all out of order. Yeah, Tomorrow's Dream, Cornucopia, Everyday Under the Sun / Everyday Comes and Goes. FX, which is just the biggest waste of time, but Volume 4, classic. And did you know it's not a live album? I know it looks like it because it's got a live picture of it on it, of Ozzy, but it is not a live album. So don't be fooled. Volume 4 is excellent. And my number 1, if you've been paying attention, you know this. It's Paranoid. Not only is it my favorite Black Sabbath album, it's in my top 10 albums ever. And I am going to do a video. I've been kind of, letting it marinate in my head. I am going to do a video doing my top 10 albums ever. Some people like to say of all time, or whatever you want to call it. I kind of have that list figured out, and I will do a video at some point. And I'm sure you're all very excited. Yeah, and this as a spoiler alert, this will be on here. This was the first Black Sabbath album I got. I got it, I think it was 1980 I got this. Loved it, and I did talk about this, the Super Deluxe version of it. I think in July. I did it, I think the day before Ozzy died, so it must have been July 21st. Every song on this album is great. I didn't like when I was a kid, and I don't want to repeat myself too much because I've done 2 episodes on it. I didn't like Planet Caravan near. I like it way, way more now. I think when I was a kid and then older as a teenager now, I want Black Sabbath heavy. I don't want this trippy psychedelic version of Black Sabbath, but I love it now. The only thing I don't like about it is that weird effect that they had on Ozzy's voice. I would have preferred just his normal voice. And this is another one. It's War Pigs / Luke's Wall. Maybe the greatest heavy metal song ever. Thus, my favorite Black Sabbath song, I guess. Paranoid, Planet Caravan, Iron Man. Side 2 is Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, Rat Salad, and Fairies Wear Boots. Can't get enough of this album. I like it now more than I ever have. Partially because, Ozzy dying really put some things in a different perspective for me. As it goes, I guess, a lot of people. So that is it for my, remember, it's official Black Sabbath album rankings. To recap, I hope I can get through this without any flubs. Whoops! Oh, I do have a flub. I had these some upside down. Okay, let's see if I can do it. So there we go. No. Oh my God, how embarrassing. Whoops, I forgot one. Okay, so there's number 20, 7th star. I need my my paper here. 27th star. 19, Headless Cross. 18, 18, The Eternal Idol. Definite article, the. 17 is Tear. It's not tire, it's Tear. 16, Cross Purposes. 15, Forbidden, whether it's the regular version or the Tony Iommi remix. Forbidden is 15. 14 is The Devil You Know. I can't show you that one, but you can imagine what it looks like. It's kind of red and black. 13, Dehumanizer. 12, Mob Rules. No, what did I say? 12. Yeah, I made this mistake here. 12 is Mob Rules. No, sorry. 12. Yeah, 12 is Mob Rules. 11 is 13. It's too many numbers. 10, I'm sure I made a mistake. 10 is Born Again. 9, Technical Ecstasy. 8, Never Say Die. 7, Heaven and Hell. 6, the debut album, Black Sabbath. 5, Master of Reality. 4, Sabotage. 3, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. 2, Volume 4. And number 1 is, yes, Paranoid. There it is. So that's all for the official Black Sabbath album ranking video. Thank you for watching. Again, I'm still tweaking the set a little bit. And normally I do these album rankings sitting just to give it a different look than I want to talk about this album episodes. But I can't really, at least for now, I can't set myself up in a good position to sit down. All right. So I might, when I do more of these album rankings, maybe I will. I think I'll do them standing up. All right. So that's all. Thank you again for watching. See ya.